I want to now bring in a man, one of your teammates during Kobe's rookie year and certainly for a lot longer, Mr. Byron Scott. Thank you so much, friend, for joining us. Kobe gave a great shout out to Byron in his Mamba Mentality book, mentioning how much he learned from you early in your career. So, Byron, what was it like for you the first time you faced up against Kobe in practice? Because, as Robert said, he came to y'all as a young pup.
Well, Big Shot knows that, I mean, we had some great practices, some very competitive practice. Big Shot, big-time competitor himself. Kobe at 17, 18 years old just wouldn't back down to anybody. He wanted to take that challenge. And that's why we got so close, is because he wanted to ask all these questions about the NBA and how he could take advantage of his talents and what were people going to try to do to take advantage of him. And, as a rookie, you always know people will come at you, especially vets. They're going to come at you. You got to be ready for that. They're going to try to take advantage of you. But his mentality even then was that he was going to be the best. He was going to outwork everybody. We all knew he had talent. That was obvious from day one. And you had to kind of guide that talent. But in the long run, we knew that talent was going to take over, and the work ethic just made him that much more special. But he said from day one to me, in all the conversations that we had, that he wanted to be one of the greatest players in the league. And I looked at him, and we eye to eye, and I said, man, the way you work, you will be. And he turned out being one of the greatest of all time.
The thing about Kobe also, he wasn't afraid to ask questions. A lot of guys are afraid to ask questions, and Kobe would go to you. If he wants to know about another player, he would ask questions. So that was the best thing about him. He was going to learn some way or another. He was going to figure it out. Yeah.
Well, I like about all three of you guys had interactions with Kobe very early and then, of course, also very late. And Byron, you were in such a crazy position. We just showed that page from Kobe's book. The photo he put up of the two of you was him hugging you. I believe that's an Andrew Bernstein special, and just thanking you for all of the conversations that you had. But that not only came when he was a young player, it came when you turned around and then coached him at the end of his career. What was that like to span the very beginning to then, of course, the very end?
The last 2 years that I had in LA coaching and having KB on that team, it was the best 2 years of my life in coaching. And I had some great success early, with New Orleans and New Jersey. But it can't compare to the last 2 years I spent with Kobe here in LA. We got to reunite, reconnect. We spent a lot of time together. I got a lot of 5 o'clock a.m. calls in the morning about what we're doing. Like, man, do you ever sleep? He was just one of those guys that, was driven. And I love that about him. And like Robert just said, wasn't afraid to ask questions. And that's the thing I love about it. Even at 37 years old, wasn't afraid to ask me questions about, game planning, practice planning, whatever it may be. And he was just one of those guys that he just felt that every day you can learn. Every day you can get better as a basketball player. Every day you can learn as a person. And he took that, literally. And I know that's one of the reasons that he changed his number to 24, because he was always talking about, you got 24 hours in a day. And that day, those 24 hours, you can get better. And I love that about him because of his spirit and his passion, not only for basketball, but for life. We know how much he loved his girls and his family. But the most fierce competitor I've ever been around, Magic Johnson was an unbelievable competitor in practice. I've been with, Big Shot when we had practice and when Kobe was in, and how competitive he was. I know how competitive, my man Matt Barnes is. I know that dude, he just goes out and he gonna guard you. He gonna make it rough on you every single night. But Kobe just had that about him, that every day in practice, he was gonna give you 110%, and he was gonna go at you. And he didn't respect you if you didn't go back at him. That's the one thing about it. He did not respect you if you didn't go back at him. If you looked at him and just thought he was bigger than God, or I can't. He didn't have no respect for you. But if you went at him, he had all the respect for you. And that's the thing that I loved about him: his competitive nature, his passion for the game, his passion for life, his passion for his family. I mean, those 2 years, like I said, Rachel, I'll never forget those two. As bad as our team was, that was the best 2 years I've ever had as a coach.
That's an amazing statement, Byron. You're someone who won multiple rings, played with Magic, as you said, coached in the NBA Finals, and yet your 2 best years coaching were those. A really great message that it is not all about the wins and losses, and especially with someone like Kobe Bryant. He was known as such a winner, but it's what he gave us all along the way that we really want to celebrate today. It's about so much more than just the titles. Byron, thank you so much for joining us today. Excellent to see you, my friend. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.